I'm gonna need you guys to listen to this one real quick. We're talking about a $19.7 billion mega data center expansion that's happening right here in New Albany. Defense tech unicorn that's dropping $1.6 billion to bring over 4,000 new jobs right here in Rickenbacker. And a literal space station research park which is being built right next to OSU's airport and then treating it kind of like it's the next Star Trek or something. Listen, Columbus is about to flip the script when we're talking about another flyover city. We're not just talking about office buildings either or another Amazon warehouse. We're talking about game-changing developments that are happening right here. We're gonna talk about all those things right now. What's up, guys? It's Gagan here, your favorite realtor, and let's get started with Amazon's web service. We're not just talking about some data centers here or some data centers there. We're talking about an expansion to the AWS like we've never seen. Ohio is becoming the hub for everything Amazon. We got 5 buildings that are coming here, over 400 acres of land, 2 of which are already fully operational and 3 which are coming to life very soon. Here's what no one's talking about, guys. These data centers are not just storing funny cat videos and TikToks either. We're talking about Netflix, your banking apps, and all the AI that's gonna power the world. We're talking about infrastructure that literally keeps America running, and they're choosing to build it right here in Central Ohio. You know, when I first started getting into real estate investing, my mentors told me one thing: follow the infrastructure, not the fancy retail growth. And when you're talking about, again, a almost $20 billion infrastructural growth that's all here, it really makes you start looking at a couple of things and say, wow, I gotta start looking at this a little bit more. But here's the big thing, guys, that no one is talking about. When all these billion-dollar companies are coming here, property values around those corridors, yep, they're gonna go up a lot more. Areas like New Albany, Dublin, and Hilliard, yeah, they're gonna get the ripple effect of all of this. We're talking about thousands of high-paying tech jobs. We're talking about so much infrastructural growth. And for the people that are living here, this is going to be a literal gold mine. And the people that are coming here, yeah, it's not gonna feel like Ohio anymore. It's gonna feel like a legitimate tech hub. Now, if we're talking about companies that are betting big on Columbus, Ohio, let me put you onto something that's gonna sound like science fiction, but it's happening right here, right next to Rickenbacker. Anduril Industries, yeah, the company that's worth $30 billion just raised $2.5 billion to build right here. They're gonna build what's called the Arsenal 1 project, and it's gonna take over 5 million square feet of a manufacturing hub and employ over 4,000 people. But here's the crazy part, this isn't just a traditional defense contractor either. These guys are building AI-powered fighter jets that fly without pilots, autonomous submarines, and basically the weapon systems that look like they're straight out of a Marvel movie. The founder, Paul Malucki, yeah, the same guy that founded the Oculus VR, he's the guy that's behind the whole thing. Now, he's disrupting how America is building its military defense. All right, here's the crazy part. They had their pick of anywhere in America. North Carolina offered them $300 million in incentive. Texas, Florida, anywhere, and they picked Columbus, Ohio. And they picked the Rickenbacker corridor for a few reasons: the logistics, the manufacturing, and the proximity. Remember, Columbus and Ohio as a whole is about a day's drive away from 60% of the USA. Think about that from the perspective of manufacturing and how many cool things need to actually come in here for these projects to come to fruition. But here's what this means for you. These aren't just minimum wage jobs either. The average salary is over $132,000. We're talking about over $530 million in payroll over the next 10 years. Beyond just jobs, these kind of companies, they build entire ecosystems around them. Suppliers, contractors, service workers, restaurants, people will start coming to these locations because, well, there's already something here. It's not just the fact that people are working here. The 4,000 high-paying employees, they're going to need things, right? They're going to need housing, they're going to need food, they're going to need shelters, and they're going to need a lot of other things as well. And if you're thinking about investments from a real estate perspective, the Rickenbacker corridor could see insane growths with all these things that are coming here. You've got workers that are making 6 figures and they're looking for housing. Housing demand starts just going through the roof. Now listen, we can't necessarily say this area is going to grow super fast, that area is going to grow super fast, but one of my mentors told me, and I said this in the beginning as well, don't look at where the retail money is going, look at where the logistics money, the manufacturing dollars, where are they going to? And then take that data and synthesize with it. But Anduril is honestly a hit or miss project with people that are living in Columbus, Ohio. Some people absolutely love it, saying that it's going to bring so many jobs, so many different opportunities and economic boasts. But other people are saying, listen, this is not what I signed up for. This is not what I want my Columbus to look like. And truth be told, both sides have really interesting arguments and different perspectives as well. But who am I to say and give you one or the other? You got to watch these videos and again, do your own research. I tell everyone that watches these videos, look at the facts, look at the data, and do your own research. Figure out what's best for you. Don't just look at me. Don't just read one article or one news source. Take all the data and synthesize that data and figure out what specifically will be appropriate for you and your family. All right, let's talk about something that completely sounds like it's science fiction, but it's happening right next to the Ohio State Airport. Voyager Technologies, yeah, the guys that had a $3.8 billion valuation when they went public, they're building a project called the Vista. And that's going to be the Earth-based twin of their private space station called Starlab. Just to make sure that this is clear for you and me, Columbus is getting its own space station research facility. What? Here's kind of how it works. When they launch the Starlabs to replace the International Space Station in 2029, they're going to be doing duplicate experimentations right here in Columbus, Ohio. Every experiment that they run is going to have a simulation here that they can use as a control group. Guys, we're talking about research that could transform massive industries, agriculture, cancer research, infrastructure, industries that are worth literal trillions of dollars. Leased 10 acres from Ohio State with an option for 70 more. NASA has actually already committed over $270 million to this project, and a community-based company called Alfred is going to be leading the projects as well. Now, I know what you're thinking. How is the space station going to affect me? Well, settle your horses, because it's going to affect you in ways you never even thought about. When you become a hub for cutting-edge research and developments, you start attracting talent and investors from all across the globe. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to make sure that this part is clear. We're not just talking about investors that live in the USA. We're talking about investors from all across the world that are looking at Columbus and saying, whoa, I got to start looking at this a lot more. Look at what started to happen around Stanford when Silicon Valley was born, or MIT and Boston. Research parks like this don't just create jobs, they create lasting ecosystems that stick around for decades to come. For residents and people that are thinking about coming to Columbus, Ohio, this positions Columbus as a legitimate space research hub. Which, by the way, analysts are predicting that this is going to be a $1 trillion industry by 2040. This is the kind of research that shifts locations. Locations that, number one, are thriving, and number two, that are being left behind. Can you hear it in my voice? How passionate I am about this city. I love this city so damn much. And the fact that we've got so many amazing things that are coming right here, man, does it get me excited. And I hope it gets you excited as well. This isn't caffeine. This isn't any form of Gagan talking. This is just the fact that I love this city. And we've got so many people that are finally starting to recognize what makes the city so freaking special. Okay, now let's zoom out and talk about something that's kind of flying under the radar, but absolutely shouldn't. Because investments like this, I also think, are the future of Columbus, Ohio. Not just talking about domestic companies, we're talking about international companies that are setting up shop right here in Columbus. 3 European companies just announced they're setting up major operations here. D'Angeli Paletti, Kansai Helios, and we've got Reliable Healthcare relocating from Florida. Now, I definitely said those wrong, and I apologize. D'Angeli has invested over $42 million in London, Ohio. They're going to build their first U.S. manufacturing advanced corridor right here in Columbus, or Central Ohio to be more specific. These guys specialize in the infrastructure that's going to modernize our power grid, and it's not going to just come without jobs either. We're talking about over 231 jobs and over $12 million in annual payroll. Kansai Helios just dropped over $20 million in Johnstown for their infrastructure coating manufacturer. They're going to build their first U.S. manufacturing advanced corridor right here in Columbus, or Central Ohio to be more specific. These guys specialize in the infrastructure that's going to modernize our power grid, and it's not going to just come without jobs either. We're talking about over 231 jobs and over $12 million in annual payroll. Kansai Helios just dropped over $20 million in Johnstown for industrial coating manufacturing. 48 high-paying jobs are coming here where, honestly, the people actually get sent to Germany to learn and specialize and get even better. And Reliable Healthcare is bringing 106 new jobs and over $7 million in payroll. They're moving from Florida right here to Grove Park. Now, here's what no one is talking about. International companies are looking at Columbus and they're seeing something that domestic companies aren't. Seeing logistical infrastructure, a workforce, and a business-friendly location that, again, people are completely missing out on. We put it like this: these companies are making multi-billion-dollar bets right here in our hometown. For residents, this means economic diversification, opportunities to honestly relax a little bit. One of the scariest things about all these other companies, honestly, one of the scariest things about cities and states in the country as a whole is this: a lack of diversification. When you don't have diversification from your workforce, if you're just in one specific industry, you're screwed. And honestly, that's one of the biggest problems with the S&P as we know it. The top 8 companies are all super heavy on AI. And some people are saying the AI boom is going to crash. And if that happens, what happens to the entire GDP as we know it? Here's the thing. We're not going to talk too much about that, but Ohio as a whole is hyper diversified. Manufacturing, logistics, healthcare, governmental jobs as well. So what I'm saying is this. Ohio got even more diversification. And honestly, this is a really good thing. Let's talk about the one thing, the elephant in the room that everyone is worried about. And it's the Intel project. But before we actually get to that, again, my name is Gagan. I'm a licensed realtor right here in Columbus, Ohio. If you have any aspirations to buy, sell, or now, according to these, invest, give our team a call, shoot us a text. All of our information is down below. As much as we love making these videos, we would also love to position you to make sure you're making the best financial decision when you are making that move here. Again, follow us on the Columbus Report as well, one of the fastest growing media outlets in the entire city. So again, let's talk about the one thing that's on everyone's mind, Intel slowing down. Yeah, I know it's not the best news. The $20 billion company who's already invested over $2 billion right here, well, is the project actually coming or not? The project hasn't moved back years upon years, from 2025 to 2031, and yeah, they definitely cut back a lot of their spending and a lot of the workforce as a whole. But let me tell you why this might be the best thing that happens to Columbus. But first, let's talk about the negative side of things, right? When a $28 billion company says that they're holding back, yeah, that's going to create a lot of, well, it's going to bring a lack of confidence as a whole. It affects timeline for job creation, and it affects the entire economy as a whole. The project was supposed to be completed by 2030, which was supposed to create over 3,000 jobs, and that money was going to flow into the economy as a whole. And again, that financial perspective is one that we have to make sure that we're literate about, because if the money doesn't flow, the money doesn't come into the system as a whole. But here's the other thing that people are talking about. Intel's slowdown, it's strategic. They're aligning what they're building with actual demand and not just speculation. And as much as people may not want to admit it, if I was running a $30 billion company as well, that's exactly how I would build. But here's the other thing that no one is talking about. All the infrastructure in Columbus, the roads, the location, yeah, those are already paved. Why could this potentially be even more good news for Columbus? It gives the city time. It gives us a breathing room. It allows us to actually develop a workforce in union with the projects and not just out of speculation and out of high demand. In 2020, 2021, and 2022, you know how many people actually came to Columbus? A lot. Rapid growth could actually hurt local residents through traffic, housing demand, and infrastructural necessities. A controlled rollout could mean that Columbus gets both the benefits of a semiconductor hub and also the infrastructure to back it up. The other thing that no one has talked about ever is the fact that Intel's willingness and commitment to even come here in the first place is attracting, again, billion-dollar companies right here. Intel saw something that other people didn't, and now those other companies, they began to follow suit. Sometimes the best thing for a city is steady growth, not rapid growth. And I think that's where Columbus is headed. Here's the bottom line. Columbus is transforming itself from just a quaint little Midwest city, town, whatever you want to call it, to an economic powerhouse as we know it. And some people want this, and some people don't. You get Amazon betting over $19 billion in digital infrastructure right here. Anduril building the future of military defense, Voyager bringing its own space station, and multiple international companies that are seeing Columbus as a manufacturing hub. For people that are living here, this means job opportunities and industries that weren't existent over a decade ago. It means that property values are going to appreciate as well if all these companies come here, all of which is going to happen based on fundamental economic growth and not speculation. People that are moving here, this is your moment. You're not just moving to an area which has cheaper costs of living than coastal cities. No, you're moving to an economic powerhouse that is going to compete with those locations. And here's the thing, just between you and me, you're getting in here before anyone else knows about it. The smart money is already here, guys. And the question is this, are you going to follow it or wait just like everyone else and miss out? And listen, if you are thinking about making that move to Columbus, Ohio, we actually did an entire playlist about just that. I'm gonna put that video right here. Watch it, and I'll see you soon. Peace.